So this is my topic, and I'm doing more of a reflection because we can't say we are the gurus. This is having a positive school culture is something that grows. 1 year or 2 years, you may have a very positive school culture. You have changes in administration, and the students that keep changing, whatever they bring might change whatever you have. So it's a work, an ongoing work, something that we must keep working at. So basically it's just a reflection, and we're embracing positivity so that we can thrive in our environments. So when you think about your school, how do you feel? When you think about your school, and you'll allow me to allow you to talk to one another. Like we were told, part of our being here, you could be seated next to your next employer. Yes. So when you think of your school, how do you feel? And this one you discuss with your neighbor. Which is your face when you think about your school? Tell your neighbor something. Yes, there's a face there. Which is your face? Say face number one on, use your mathematical knowledge to see which one. If you're not talking to your neighbor, then I will know which one you are. I will conclude that even when you're here, you're wondering, now who is that talking to us? This is the face, eh? Or like, really? Are you for real? Are you here to tell us something? Thinking about your school. Yes. Yes. Uh-huh. What? When you just think about your school generally, you can get to shule, or when you think of, oh my God, 25th you're opening, if you're opening on 25th, what do you feel? Yeah. Is it like, oh, we're opening again, we just closed? Or is it like, wow, I'll be back to meet the people I enjoy meeting most? It's about the environment. These are just capturing a few faces that are inside. It's our faces or our outside body, what we show, that actually tell us what is inside. Okay, so have you talked to your neighbor? Have they told you which one? Your neighbor is this one. You can talk from across. All right, so at least it's good you've talked. I'll not ask for the response right now, maybe later on, if time allows. Okay, so I'll try to go through the following for now. Introduction, a few quotes that I found that talk about a school which works, or a school that has positivity, benefits of a positive school culture, key elements in fostering that positivity, and strategies for promoting inclusivity among students, and of course, the rest of the school, and importance of collaborating among staff. That is what I'm going to attempt to bring out. So, another activity. Now we'll have to go on a journey here. I will not tell you to close your eyes. Somebody will maybe say, they went for this place where we're taken to some spiritual world. No, with your eyes open. Picture yourself in a very, very dark room with scary noises. Are you there? Remember that movie? That place where it always goes like, do. Oh, for your information, I'm very dramatic. So don't be offended, eh? Like she should be serious presenter. No, life is too serious. Let's make it a bit easy. So back to our room. This dark room. Are you there? Allow me to laugh. Some of you are in that dark room and you're smiling. That's so interesting. Inside the very, very dark room. You're supposed to be scared in that very dark room. And that is exactly how some of our situations are. Some of our schools are. You think of the culture, and the current word that is doing rounds is toxicity. Toxic culture. You think of that teacher you sit next to and you're thinking, can't I get a transfer, or can the principal just decide to rearrange sitting in this? Because you don't have the capacity to tell that teacher I want to stop sitting next to you, because you're also managing emotions. But in your heart, you're really wishing, if only somebody could do something so that I'm moved. That is exactly what a toxic environment feels like, unless you are able to manage. So in as much as we are talking about building a positive environment, There are many factors that play a part. But for you and I as an individual, we can do our part to remain afloat in the midst of all that. So, a few quotes that can help us towards that environment. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. A quote by Nelson Mandela. So for the teachers and the students who are here, or the pupils or the learners, we are on the right path. Next, the walls of a school should reflect a future possibility, not a killer possibility. The halls should honor dreams, the rooms to help prepare. We should have dreams, students should have dreams, teachers should have dreams, like our director said. Maybe many teachers have not seen the need for professional development. But in my context, I have found that the more you interact with others in learning environment, the better you become. At no point in our lives will we ever feel, I have learned enough. Even just by sitting here, there's something you're learning. Even when you look at the neighbor seated in front of you, and I'm not saying you do, but you look at the back of their head, there is something you can learn, either about fashion, or how to arrange your hair, or appreciate and thank God for creating that beautiful head. There is always something to learn wherever we are. Now, a school's culture has more influence on life and learning. No wonder for the teachers, one word can change a student. You teach chemistry. So here is my short story on chemistry. My learning of chemistry did not chemistricize. It was not giving. Because I went to a new school in Form 2, and I met this teacher, and I really wanted to do chemistry. And in our days, which some of us never want to hear, but those were our days, there are certain things you could not say before a teacher. So this teacher was asking me questions. I'm still new in the school, and I responded, yeah. And the teacher said, and you are responding, yeah. I panicked, and the next question she asked, I responded, yeah, loudly, because I panicked. The teacher bashed me, and that was the end of me and chemistry. Can you imagine that I don't even remember whether I sat in the class for the 1 year I was in that school? I totally have no memory. But what I know is that that teacher, it was over 40 years or 30 years, I don't know. No, 40 years since. All I remember is that teacher was dark, like me. She had specs, and her face was very, very serious. But she destroyed my relationship with chemistry until I met a few teachers. But now I was a teacher myself, who are very positive about chemistry. And they told me that chemistry is used everywhere. Number one, when you fall in love, what do we call it? Chemistry. Number two, when you're baking cake, what are you doing? Mixing those elements. Isn't that chemistry? Then I appreciated the power of chemistry. There are some teachers who told a student, you are useless. And for sure, words are very powerful from adults. And the student becomes useless. And so the school is trying to making discipline. This student is always in the class for discipline issues. Who spoke those discipline issues? That teacher. You're useless. So what does the student feel? If so-and-so, who is my model, thinks I'm useless, no matter how much the other, unless another teacher who they value starts speaking different words, or unless the parents come up and say, it does not matter. But without that intervention, I tell you, teachers, we have the capacity to destroy. No wonder, allow me to quote, the Bible says, it's in the book of James, that teachers will be judged harshly. Yes, they're talking about the teachers of the Bible, but a teacher is a teacher. Okay, a few other quotes. As teachers, we have the opportunity to foster positive changes to the everyday experiences in our school. Investing time in improving school culture is worth the effort. It's not easy, but it is doable. The other one, culturize. To cultivate a community of learners by behaving in a kind, caring, honest, and compassionate manner in order to challenge and inspire each member of the school community to become more than they ever thought possible. So, I am in class teaching Form 2 students. And they were not doing very well. So this particular day, I decided to check. You know how you check the temperatures within the class? And I normally just talk to my students the way we are talking. So I asked them, I want to ask you a question. So they are looking at me like, teacher, what question? How many of you, if you had a chance to bribe me, that I give you grades? These are Form 2. You know Form 2? Where puberty hits the roof. Yes. How many of you would bribe me to give you a grade? Shock on me. So many hands went up. And I thought they must be joking. I think they think I'm joking. So I told them, I'm very serious, girls. Very, very serious. Now the teacher is not joking. Let me change the question. How many of you would never, ever bribe me? Only 2 hands went up. And I thought to myself, are we talking about corruption in Kenya? Where does Kenya start? Kenya starts from pre-unit. Actually, Kenya starts from the time a child is born. So in as much as we are blaming everybody up here, the foundations are rotting silently. And most of that foundation is in whose hand? If you're a teacher, your hand, my hand. Now, if we look at it in terms of it is so huge, then there's nothing much you can do. But if you look at it in terms of in my space, where God has put me, I will make the difference. There is something you can do. Because that student will come and tell you someday, teacher, you know, when you used to do 1, 2, 3, I used to admire. And I'm still within a positive school culture. So one day this student comes to visit me. She had just gotten married and she was so excited to visit her teacher. And she was looking so, so nice. Manicured nails, pedicured legs. For the men in the house, hallelujah. Amen. And we actually say amen to the men. So I ask her, I tell her, you're looking so nice. You know what she told me? Teacher. Okay, that is when I was young and beautiful. She told me, teacher, when you used to come to class and you used to do your hair, I don't even remember, and then your nails. And you know, I used to admire. And I told myself, when I get a job, I will do exactly like you. Now, I was teaching English. Was I teaching pedicure and manicure? But what was the result? Pedicure, manicure, and performance in English. That is the power of a teacher. Now for the men, if you're teaching ladies, I don't know. Maybe they look at beards, they look for a husband with with a good aura. Okay. School is a building which has 4 walls with tomorrow inside it. No matter how tough it is, especially for those of us who are with the Teachers Service Commission, there's always this thing of always looking up, I think he said it, and feeling like, yeah, the problem is this or the good thing is this. The student life continues and we are churning them out one by one. So we cannot stop with our frustration because we'll never have time to rescue the one we let pass. So let those walls take care of the future. Great school culture is not an accident. It happens when we recognize that we all depend on one another and then work together to create supportive, caring conditions for everyone, students, teachers, support staff, guests, and everyone. Especially the guests. The guests have the power, a lot of power, especially in this social media day. And this is the one I created. So you can quote it in your future life. For me, a positive school culture is like light, a shining light that gives endless hope to posterity. In other words, as you are creating a positive environment in the school, you're not just reaching that student there. You are actually reaching their grandchildren, their children's children, because one of the things my generation like doing, you always say, in my day, when I was in school, my teacher. And who am I telling? My children, who will tell their children that, you know, your grandmother went to this school and this is what the teacher did. So what are we doing? It's a cycle of creating that positivity and that great culture, and that is how schools are distinguished. I may not have the time to share, but I Googled and found out schools that have positive culture. Actually, you Google and it just comes out automatically. And one of the ones that struck me is the Shofko schools. I visited their school in Mathare. Amazing, amazing work. Please, I'll ask, I know you can organize. Maybe we should have a tour to that place, especially those around Nairobi. I don't know if they have one in Kisumu. They don't. Oh, please. I saw those children in the middle of where they're coming from, and I asked the teachers, what are you doing to create this? Because I looked at them and I looked at where I'm coming from, and I asked myself, who is doing a better job here? We can create that culture if we are determined. So, understanding, are you bored? But even if you're bored, would you say you're bored? You wouldn't. Okay, right. Now, fostering a sense of community and engagement is definitely essential. And a positive school culture promotes collaboration among students, the staff, even the support, the entire staff, even the stakeholders. And it creates an environment where everybody feels valued. And I think that's what people need the most. When you get to school and you just arrive and you find the security at the gate, and you're late to school, and it's taking time to open the gate, what is the first thing you do? What is my first reaction? Remember, you're late. Especially, I don't know about Kisumu, but I know Nairobi jam is quite something, eh? Really mentally, how are you feeling? Tired. Then you're thinking of T-pad. For those of us, how many have T-pad over their heads? So all of you are from private schools. Hallelujah. Oh, at least I have relatives. T-pad has that place for teacher attendance and regularity, especially if they're very careful, because where I come from, we do it religiously. You can, every term, the T-pad must be handed. So there's teacher attendance, and there's a place which talks about punctuality. And then you're thinking of that head who is probably standing beside your class and asking them, where is your teacher? But here is the security guard. And probably he was welcoming another visitor, and so he's delayed at opening the gate. So what is the first reaction? First inside your heart, before you speak. What's wrong with these security guards? Do they even know why they're here? You know, you're speaking to yourself. Now, maybe wisdom might make you not say that. But if you're really angry, what you do, tell them, what's your job? Sorry, you're not one. Can I role play? Yes. Oh, sawa. Hata ujui nini nafanya hapa. Nimekaa kwa hii gate. Like one time we had a girl or a visitor who came. A visitor for a Sunday service. She honked and honked and honked until the teacher was in the staff room, came out to find out what's the emergency. Because the security was taking so long to open the gate. The security could have been wrong. But is that the correct reaction? But here I'm thinking of the other side. Could this security, who is part of the school, be going through something? How about, hello, so-and-so, aki umechelewa kufungua gate, lakini, you know, you leave the person with a smile. When we leave our institution, who remembers us? We've had people leave our institution, not necessarily teachers, and nobody went to their burial. In fact, you ask, you're not going to bury that person? No. But while they were in school, everybody related well. They say, it's not, is it what people will remember? How you made them feel, not what you did. That's part of the positive school culture. Okay, what are the key benefits? Key benefits of a school culture. And this is where now I know I'm speaking to adults. So for a moment, talk to your neighbor and tell them, I already have them here, but that one that is in your heart, please talk to a neighbor and tell them, if my school culture is positive, already you are there, what are the benefits you're getting from there? Talk to somebody. Talk to somebody. Neighbors who are far from one another. I'm really trying to get people to interact. For reasons I hope I'll explain later. What are some of the key benefits you have seen in your institution? Even as my time is really running. Right. There's one group, I won't say couple. Does one pair want to share? Share what you have. shared. Don't share what is from your school, what your neighbor said, so it is safe. You are not sharing your school issues. This pair here, just one thing that maybe she or he said.
Some of the benefits that we get from the culture that we have is the foundation that the school was having, or what the school is known for. When the school is known for good performance, you as the teacher, you always try to reach that goal of being a working teacher or being somebody. Thank you. So I was saying that one of the benefits in maybe a school or my school is that the foundation that was laid as much as academics is concerned, or as much as other co-curricular activity is concerned. So once you're there in that school, you know that this is what, as a teacher, this is what I'm expected to do. And at any time you find yourself not doing the same, you will feel guilty for not helping the company or the institution reach its goals.
I hear you. Thank you so much. Let's appreciate him with one clap. Clap like you mean it. That's positive conference culture. Okay, thank you so much. Very, very important. So definitely with a positive school culture, the students' performance is enhanced. And performance here is not necessarily academic. It could be co-curricular, whichever, spiritual, but something happens. Then the teacher has greater job satisfaction. World over, no teacher will ever say they're paid enough. So let's forget about that, unless you're paying yourself. So it's one of those things we will keep talking about, but I know, for example, I was checking out the Great America. I think the vacancy is over 300,000 teachers. They are lacking. Kenya, we are talking about, I don't know what our figures are, but you can imagine. And so many are leaving, especially in the teaching of English, for various reasons. And then, of course, there's improved relationships because people connect stronger, people feel safe wherever they are. Now, the school community, as I alluded to, is not just made of teachers and students. We have the administrators who are also teachers. Actually, all administrators are first and foremost teachers before they become principals, deputies, and the other administrators. And then we have the support staff, which in my opinion can paralyze or can make or break a school because they are on the ground. It's like people who are used to driving executives or their secretaries. They have in-house information that if you're not careful to find out, you could be operating kumbe chini hakuna kitu. Very, very important. And then we have the parents who are co-teachers with us. In the day we are living in, any home that does not treat a child well is reflected in school and paralyzes learning. Or is it only where I am? Anybody who has had that experience? True, I can see the non-verbal cues. And then the visitors who come. You never know who may visit that school and what they'll bring to that school. And of course, other stakeholders, the suppliers and all that, all those are part of the school culture. Wow. How do you think that Nori is feeling? How do you think Nori is feeling? And how are Nori's classmates feeling? Are they seeing themselves in Nori? And how do you think that teacher is feeling? And when she leaves that class and goes to the next class, do you think she'll go there feeling sad? And that positivity, even if she had issues at home, by the time she's coming, I believe God will have sorted them out, or at least she'll have a clear mind to sort them out. So we can do it at our levels. And what we are here to say is that in as much as the administration has a bigger part to play, in your own space, create that positivity. And when Nori grows up, what do you think she will do to that teacher? There's a video I watched that made me cry. Somebody sent it to me as a teacher. Anyway, so key benefits, we've talked about improved safety and protection in the community or in the school. So bullying is less, because how do you bully somebody who now you're relating to well? Very, very important. But if that culture is not positive, it's very, very easy. Very, very easy for bullying to go on in school because people are carrying things. And promotes good mental health, what we're talking about every day, and the well-being of everybody in that school. At least in the staff room, and we can never stop talk. That talk is always there, but we can minimize. We can minimize and talk about positive things. And then Some people may arise there who will say, you will not talk about so and so while I'm here. Nitamwambia. But when the culture is toxic, in fact, we really enjoy. Somebody starts and then you add, and then you ask yourself, what did I just say? We create even what is not there because of the negative culture. Is your neighbor sleeping or they're awake? Look at your neighbor, are they sleeping? They're awake, eh? Oh, thank you. Okay, encourages leadership. Very, very important. Personally, I've made it my mission to ensure that I tell every student you're a leader. If you're not leading any human being, you're leading yourself. And somehow that impacts the surrounding and how I develop what I do or teach in class. So very important to create a positive school culture. And then it drives long-term sustainability. Values like respect, inclusion, care, building strong school identities, create a legacy of excellence for future generations. And somebody goes to that school and they're like, I belong to the. Whenever you hear a school called the, anybody here from the? Anybody from with a relative from the? Let me ask again. Anybody from a school start by the? See, then you create your school. Once you kusema the. I am from the Kisumu girls. The there meaning the only one of its kind. That is correct English, the. So tell your neighbor, I'm from the. You mean you can't bring yourself to say you are from the? Hata kama ni ile shule hata haina shogarabaga, haina jina, just say, tell your neighbor, I am from the. Don't wait until, I value and respect the alliances, the Kenya High, the State House. Lakini lazima, Waswahili wanasema kujichochea. You start by saying I am the, and then you make it, believe you me. What you feel here will translate to what is on the ground. Right, so key elements, shared vision and core values. When a school doesn't know where it's going, then everything we just come, I don't know what we are learning, and life moves on, and students' life just pass, and there's nothing really going on. But a school that is very clear on their vision, where are we going? They're asking questions like, how are we going? Oh, sorry, where are we? Where are we is the first one. Where are we now? Okay, where are we going? How do we get there? And in my mind, I was thinking of what package we use to get there includes the values within the school, which we appreciate for CBE for having those values. But what are your values? For me, one of my greatest value is my spirituality or faith. That drives me. What is your greatest value that drives your positivity? Very important for each one of us to think about that. Another element, celebrating birthdays, celebrating weddings, celebrating newborns. The other day we got a new principal. And now with social media, it's very easy to find out people's birthday as long as they're on some handles. And so we discovered it was her birthday. And she came to the staff room and she almost wept. Like, wow. The teachers bought cake and brought, and we all sang and danced in her mother tongue. It was so beautiful. And by the time we finished, how do you think she was feeling being in that new school? Yet I'm aware there are certain schools you cannot even mention a birthday, it is illegal. Very important to celebrate newborns. If somebody has a baby, it's important for members of staff to go and see what is happening and not move on like it doesn't matter. It matters. A human being has come. Some are getting married, unless it's a secret wedding, which will be a public marriage eventually. But it's important that we celebrate these things together. Imagine going to a wedding and you're there and then your partner is from another school and they're having their school, watu wameja. And for you, nobody came. How does that feel? It actually defines how you feel when you go back to school. You may not voice it, but in your heart you'll be thinking, I'm not valued in this school. Bereavement. Very important that representations are done there. Because unless you touch people from the inside, everything else is superficial and we'll forget. Okay, teachers training, parents training, very, very important. In our school, sometime back before COVID, we used to have what we call Father's Day and Mother's Day. And I'm sure certain schools do it, but being a public and a large school is not very easy. Population is growing. But you just call fathers and talk to them about father, how they are treating their children at home. And the children themselves talk to their fathers, how they're treating them at home. I'm telling you, I saw change that I never thought I would witness in my life. The next time we called the mothers, the fathers drove the mothers to school. Haukai nyumbani, unaenda. Lazima uende usikie kile wanasema. So we had so many men who had parked and they stayed. We used to have it from around 11 to 4. The men stayed in the parking lot waiting for their the mothers of their children to listen to what we were saying. And in those meetings, they would start bringing, unajua, even as we are talking here, my child academic, when the principal just hears academic performance, she's like, hold on, hold on. There is a place for academic performance, but we want to talk about your houses because your houses affects that academic performance. And when she managed to bring us to that area, parents asked questions and I said, we had better start a parenting school in this country with immediate effect. Dennis has a way of having dreams, Tufunzeni, start an official parenting school. We have parenting seminars, because we need to be helped, But I'm saying make such meetings in our institutions. The other one is collaboration, inclusion, respect. I talked about it, but here we are talking about the growth, encouraging the growth. Encourage growth in that institution. When you find, as teachers here, you find there's a training that's going to take place somewhere, encourage another teacher. Would you want to attend? You never know what you can do. Once upon a time, we had such an experience, and we shared something that had been sent. And there was a particular teacher who people used to complain, she's always like this, she's always like this. Now, telling somebody you're like this change becomes very difficult, isn't it? But they were led to that training, and eventually what you could hear people saying, so-and-so has really changed. It took a training outside to change somebody inside, and the impact was now being felt within the environment. Let's never be mean with sharing information. And the interesting thing is that the more you share, the more you get. Right, so positive attitudes. I will manage your time, don't worry. Positive attitudes are seeing in lesson planning, duties, attending such. How do people feel in school when they're told they're going for a PDF? Do they feel like they're just taking us there to waste our day? Or in writing around the school, I've forgotten what they're called, Very, very important. Or the visitors who come to the school and in seeing each other. A few strategies for building relationships. Establish strong relationships. Encourage the students' voice to be heard in the school. And of course, we talked about promoting inclusivity. People feel valued and respected. I want to play a certain video. This is a girl in my school. She always told me, I want to do something in technology. So one day, I just woke up and I told her, I want you to speak in the morning Wednesday assembly. And when I introduced her, that part is not here. I said, I asked her, how do you want me to introduce you? And she created her company. She told me the CEO of, and she attached her name to that. And when she came to speak before the main speakers who were seated there, they kept referring to what this girl spoke. And I only gave her 10 minutes. What was I doing? I wanted to encourage her voice. That eventually she'll make herself to be what she is. The story still continues. Okay, the story continues. How do you think that student now felt when she came down from the pulpit? How do you think her classmate felt? Because most of the time, it's we who are on that pulpit talking to them. But my agenda is, if we are going to create a positive school culture, students should also own the school and feel they are part of the school. This girl is very, very powerful. Let me not go on with her story. I'm finishing. A positive school culture fosters collaboration, respect, engagement, enabling students to thrive academically and socially, ultimately laying a strong foundation for their future success and well-being by this lady who likes going around the world touring and doing many other things. So let's collaborate. I just said it was a reflection. It may not be a full presentation like for a workshop, but reflect on your school. These are the readings you can do, maybe when you get the slides. And I want to thank you for listening. I don't take it for granted. May God bless you.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much.